we are isn't defined by what we believe, but by what we do when it matters. Every moment of hesitation is a chance to break through fear, to choose connection over indifference, and to embody the values we claim to hold dear. So when the time comes, ask yourself, who do I want to be? Welcome to Spiritual Geography. I'm Joni Miller. Recently, at a town hall meeting in Idaho, a woman was forcibly removed and no one stepped in to help. Instead, many people took out their phones and filmed it. When I heard about this, I immediately thought of the bystander effect, the tendency for people to remain passive in emergencies, since everyone expects someone else to do something so they don't have to. It's easy to judge from a distance, but would we have done better? History is full of moments where hesitation had real consequences, whether it was facing snarling police dogs in 1964 Alabama or standing up to McCarthyism in 1947 Hollywood, or navigating the very real risk of violence today. In those moments, fear is real, but so is choice. Spiritual traditions remind us that love, courage, and action go hand in hand. At the heart of so many faiths and philosophies is the idea that we are responsible for one another, that the person next to us, even a stranger, is our neighbor. But research shows that in the real world, our instincts don't always align with our values. But why? In the 1960s, psychologists named this troubling pattern. The more people who witness an emergency, the less likely any one of them is to help. They called it the bystander effect. When we see others hesitate, we take it as a cue that intervention isn't needed, or worse, that it isn't safe. The result is a collective silence when action is most needed. In these moments, our perception shifts. Rather than seeing the person in distress as someone connected to us, as a neighbor, we see them as someone else's problem. But when we override that instinct and remember that each person is as real and valuable as someone we love, we can break the pattern of inaction. We see this dynamic play out in everyday life, sometimes with devastating consequences. One tragic example took place in 2021 on a Philadelphia commuter train. For 40 minutes, a young woman was harassed and then raped. During all that time, no bystanders intervened, and no one on that train called 911. Instead, several pointed their phones in the direction of the attack. We can train ourselves to act. In 2017, I took a workshop on being an effective bystander, where I learned that the key isn't confronting the aggressor, it's focusing on the person in need. Let the person know you're safe by introducing yourself and engaging them in non-threatening conversation. Ignore the aggressor. What would the Philadelphia subway incident have looked like if someone had sat next to the young woman and started talking about the weather? But not all stories end in inaction. The bystander effect can be broken when just one person steps up, proving that courage isn't reserved for superheroes, but for ordinary people who choose to act. Consider the story of Sean Williams, a 16-year-old who did exactly that. In February 2024, he witnessed a house fire with a woman unconscious near the entrance. While others stood by, some recording the incident, he approached the burning house, lifted the woman, and carried her to safety. Reflecting on his actions, Sean said, "It was just like, I've got to get her out of there before it blows. Natural instincts kicked in." But why did Sean act when others hesitated? Maybe it was instinct, but maybe it was something deeper. The ability to see this unconscious woman not as a stranger, but as someone deserving of care, someone's mother, someone's daughter, someone's neighbor. When we see others that way, action becomes more natural. Sometimes it only takes one person to break the hesitation, shifting the dynamic and encouraging others to step in. Will you be the person who breaks the reluctance to act? Here are some concrete steps to take. You've already taken the first step by having at least a cursory understanding of the bystander effect. Even minimal gestures, like making eye contact with other bystanders or asking if someone needs help, can disrupt the cycle of inaction. To overcome the diffusion of responsibility, directly point to a single person to give them a role. You call 911 rather than shouting, "Someone call 911." Most of us haven't been in these kinds of situations before. In high-stress situations, some individuals experience bystander shock, a freeze response where the brain momentarily locks up, hindering action. But we can train ourselves to respond, and to respond faster, by envisioning a situation in which you would want to act and imagining yourself doing it. One of the most effective ways to prepare yourself to act is mental rehearsal. Just as athletes visualize success before a competition, you can train your mind to respond with courage before the moment comes. But courage isn't just about what you do, it's also about how you see. One of the simplest ways to become someone who acts is to start seeing everyone around you as a neighbor. When you walk down the street, ride a bus, sit in a crowded room, imagine these people as part of your community, people worthy of your care. The more you do this, the more natural it will feel to step in when it matters. Picture the best version of yourself, the person who steps forward. Now, join me in this brief guided visualization. Close your eyes if you can, or simply focus inward for a moment. Take a deep breath and relax into this scenario. Imagine you're in a crowded space. You hear a sudden cry for help. Someone has fallen, struggling to get up. You glance around. People see it too, but no one moves. Notice your first reaction. What happens in your body? Do you freeze? Do you hesitate? Do you look to others? You remember about the bystander effect and know that small actions can make all the difference. Now take a breath and mentally decide. You will be the one to act. You step forward, make eye contact with the person and say, "Are you okay?" You turn to somebody nearby and say, "Help me get them up." Feel that shift in your body. You went from hesitation to action. Know that in real life, even small acts break the bystander effect. Hold on to this readiness. Practice this simple scenario. Remember what it feels like to move into action. Hesitation is a choice, but so is action. The person you are becoming is shaped in these small, defining moments. The more we practice seeing everyone around us as our neighbor, the easier it becomes to step forward. The next time you hesitate, ask yourself, what if this were my friend, my parent, my child? Because someone somewhere loves this person, and that alone makes them worthy of our care. So when the time comes, and it will, who will you be? Will you be the one who steps forward? Will you be a force for good? We don't understand the mysteries of the universe, but we can grow more love. Love for ourselves, love for others, and love for the infinite mystery that lays beyond our understanding. Thank you for tuning in.